I wonder what would have happened to us had we not got out when we did.
Our security was being pulled. Everyone in the world knew where we were.
I said, we need to get out of here.
Hey guys, welcome to my channel and to today's SOFHAB reviews. This time I'll be covering the Netflix docuseries Harry and Meghan, and joining me is none other than Rascal Entertainment.
Hey, I'm out here a lot.
Yes.
And before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, and click notification bell to get some updates and upcoming reviews.
Absolutely. Really wanted to do this because at first I wasn't sure I wanted to see it. It looked interesting, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to commit. And so we watched one episode. And this docuseries is 6 episodes, an hour roughly each. I think the last was a little longer. And after watching the first one, I definitely knew I wanted to complete it and then share with you our thoughts. And if you haven't seen it, you'll have an opportunity to see if it's something you like to watch. So quickly, Harry and Meghan is an American documentary series streaming on Netflix, starring Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex, and Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. The series has 6 parts and covers the couple's relationship from their early courtship to their decision to step back as working members of the British royal family and their subsequent activities. And it also has some nice interviews with friends and family, historians, journalists. You get to see a whole lot of video footage they've taken during their lives, as well as pictures that actually give you a photographic journey of what they've gone through since the first time they met.
Right.
To see this institutional gaslighting.
I wasn't being thrown to the wolves, I was being fed to the wolves.
And they make sure you know it's only going to be 6 episodes, because a lot of us consider that this would be going on for a long time, since a lot of series can have multiple seasons on the same subject. But they decided for this would be a limited series, meaning that once these episodes are out, that is it. There is no more coming as a sequel or a new season. 6 episodes, the entire docuseries.
Now what's pretty interesting is that this actually has the record for the biggest debut of a Netflix documentary, with a total of 81.6 million hours watched in its first 4 days of release. And they say that amounts to more than 28 million households actually tuned in for it.
Right.
Well, we watched it later, but still, we weren't any less impressed with the quality of it being done. Now, one thing I like to say is Netflix has a history from many documentaries and docuseries we've watched alone and together that they produce. They have a really great knack for giving you the story within an entertaining envelope of supporting evidence and interviews and comments and even pictures from social media, like from Twitter and different places, showing you quotes that have actually been said by people who probably put things up. They didn't want to be left in the universe, but they have the proof that these things are being said.
Right.
So I have to tell you, it's really, really interesting. And there are 3 things for me that make this definitely a must watch for anyone who likes documentaries like I do, and who really just wants to hear what happened from their point of view. And the first is, online and even on TMZ, you were hearing comments about, well, why would they want to do this? Why would they do this after being on Oprah? And within this series, they state we want people to know exactly what happened, you know, and to show documented proof, to show pictures and everything, and to give their side of the story. And as I told you when we were watching it, there are not many people who would want the opportunity to tell their side of the story, have an audience, and get people to hear their side uninterrupted. So this is one way you can get that view if you're interested. Number 2 is because it's filmed beautifully, and again, it has been produced beautifully. They couldn't have done it any better. And the third is because you get to see what for me is a true love story. And I love when I see couples who truly love each other, and you can tell by watching them. It's not an act, it's not a performance. Meghan isn't an actress performing the role of her life. They really love each other, and it's evident that they were meant to be together. The universe meant for them to be together. together. And as I told you, I really hope their marriage lasts until death does them part.
Right. And I think it's also a way miracle that this even came out, because usually things like this don't see light of day after a person or a group or something is labeled as something. That's it. You cannot change the opinion, and if it doesn't match the opinion, then you're on the wrong side. But you can say he's grateful to Netflix, no matter what they've had, and even some things you don't like. As you said, the documentaries or docuseries are always usually well made, regardless of the subject matter or the target audience or what they're aiming for. They're always well made. And for here, they made sure it was not biased or favoritism or trying to paint a different picture than what intended or make it really a one-sided argument. They're just delivering it as is, as much as they could on there. And grateful that it was even allowed to be on there and stream, and people could see it and it wasn't blocked, taken down, or anything.
Also, I like to suggest that when you watch this, if you haven't seen it, you watch it with an open mind, no preconceived notions, and definitely not with the attitude, well, these two people are wealthy, you know, who cares? Because that's not the way in which you can enjoy anything.
Right.
This is meant to be enjoyed just as it's presented, and if you watch it in that way without thinking of anything you've heard on the news or seen online, you will absolutely enjoy the experience. And I love the footage of the background footage, I should say, that hasn't been made available to the media.
Right.
You're seeing things that have never been aired before anywhere. Pictures, video footage. Now there is some video footage that they've gotten, of course, from the media, but the majority of what they have is their own personal footage.
Right.
And I think it was a great idea that they wanted to just document their courtship and everything, because who knew this was going to happen? Mm-hmm. And by doing that, they were able to have something to share with people to show the progression and also to back up what they have to say. One part of this docuseries that was kind of disturbing is them showing comments that were made on Twitter about both Harry and Meghan, mostly of Meghan, and some of them were death threats, some of them were wishing her harm or things happened to her, and it wasn't like in just a standard form where someone put something out. Mm-hmm. They were really horrible statements. They were like horrible desires people were wishing on them.
There were things that we can't even repeat on here because they were very vulgar and violent and things that would really be disturbing.
So, and also probably get us flagged. So when you watch it, they actually show the Twitter screens, and they do show you the identity of the people who made these tweets. So they're not anonymous. They didn't black out the names, which I think is good, because then you could say, well, you could have made it up. Anyone could have said it. So the people who were spewing the hate, these people have been identified so that everyone will know this is how they truly feel. Mm-hmm. But other than that, I really enjoyed hearing the story, hearing how they came together, and each hour or each episode highlights a different part. Mm-hmm. Like the first one talks about the courtship and what they were doing on their own separately before they ever were introduced to each other, how they were introduced, and how they got to become a couple, an exclusive couple where they weren't dating other people. In the second one, you get to hear comments from people who were there and knows what was happening during the time they were having their courtship or they were dating. And they even interview her mom and a few other people. And they also talk about the engagement itself. The third episode talks about the engagement itself and describes what happened with them personally and in the public and with the media. And about the British media exclusively, that one's going to really give you an eye-opening as to how the British media is permitted to conduct themselves versus how they are else around the world, including here in the United States. A lot of things that they do will just not be permitted, thank God. Right. The fourth episode starts by covering their wedding day and the problems they encountered after the wedding. Mm-hmm. and their lives and what was happening behind the scenes. The 5th episode really focuses more on Harry's claims about what was happening with the palace, what was happening with them legally, what was happening between them and the institution is what they called it, and talking about more about death threats they received as a result of hateful content spread on social media. And the last episode talks about how they were assisted in getting privacy for a while. From the time they stepped down and left the duties at the palace to being on their own, and then it covers up to how they're living currently. And again, it's just really interesting. It's really fun. Believe it or not, this is a really fun docuseries. Even with the things that are being explained and what's being told, and excluding the disturbing parts about the proof of the hate that was going on, it's really enjoyable, really fun. It's actually relaxing, and it's something that you could watch to wind down, or if you just want to watch something that is not exciting and you just want to bliss out.
Yeah, and just wind down with it, because the tone of it is pretty calm, even with all the things happening on there. And we already know that when this came out, it was talked about for weeks, episode by episode. The way it came out, each episode that came out, there was something said online, and pretty sure everyone talked about it, because every day I think they talked about the show until it was over. TMZ, the news, YouTubers, everybody had something to say on it. But as Mama said, you have to watch it for yourself. Don't just take the words of other people, because you're gonna most likely get a negative reaction. Don't watch it. They're spreading lies. They're trying to make themselves look good. You've heard it all, so you have to decide you want to listen to that and just accept that point of view, or you want to watch it and make your own decision how you see it once you see their side of the story.
Absolutely. So what would be the number one reason you would recommend anyone listening who hasn't seen it watch Harry and Meghan docuseries?
If you ever had like an interest in the royal family in general, like first off, or you're maybe out of the loop and haven't kept up with everything, just seeing whatever was on the news at the time, and you want to know why are they such a controversial topic in both countries? Why do people have this abstinency for them, and why? You kind of just want to know why, because if you're out of the loop, you're probably just thinking to yourself, how can you have this much animosity towards two people and you really don't know what they did? Then this would be a way to get closure, because you get a pretty well told chain of events from the time they met to now.
And I would say that's an excellent reason. And then my reason would be because if you're like me and you love happy endings and you love beautiful love stories, and a beautiful love story is where two people, you can tell they were meant to be together. And despite opposition and all the things that are happening around them, despite having people really trying to break them up and separate them, they end up together and they end up happy, and they are so in love that you can see, despite all the negative things that are put out about love and the negative things about not finding the right person and a shortage of people and so forth, that this is evidence and proof that that just isn't true. Two of the most unlikely people in the world to meet and marry and happen with. And I think this is a beautiful example of that. Now, the last thing I want to add is, I know there may be some people, again, who don't want to see it or don't like it because they're both wealthy. Well, Meghan worked for everything that she got, and Harry's not working for everything he has. And you can watch it, again, as just something to see the truth behind the craziness of the circus that happened. And for all of the people who would say, well, they got paid, there isn't anyone on the face of this earth, us included, who, if Netflix or anyone else came along and said, hey, I'll give you X amount of millions of dollars to tell your story, you wouldn't do it. You would absolutely do it, and you will be happy to give them the opportunity to have a platform to not only tell your story, tell the truth, but also maybe to shine a light on causes and things you're interested in. And that's what this couple did.
Right.
So if you haven't seen Harry and Meghan, the docuseries on Netflix, give it a watch. Come back and let us know what you think. If you have seen it, tell us, did you enjoy it? Did you dislike it? Did you find it to be informative? Or did you think it was something that was staged and you just didn't like it? We really want to know what you think. And if you did see it, do you recommend others watch it? Let us know in the comments below.
Right. And be sure to like, subscribe, notification updates on updates and upcoming reviews and other SOFHAB videos.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us for this review. Thank you, Rascal, yet again.
Yes.
For joining me. And if you have anything you want to see reviewed on Netflix or Prime on my channel, let me know in the comments below. Thank you for your support as well. Thank you for watching. I'm Julie.
And I'm Rascal.
Continue to be happy, healthy, and whole. See you next time.
Later.
Always felt as though this was a fight worth fighting for.